Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're talking about the best games of 2022, and I mean that, of 2022 specifically. Like the games that showed up this year, delivered.
That we got out on the table.
Was able to play them, and now I can bring you my official ranking for this last year, and I've been spending the last few hours today just searching through my own coverage, searching through my hallways and my shelves and my collection and the BGG ranking list of like when was everything released. You can order it. So like I scrolled through probably 300 or 400 games that were released in 2022.
Sure.
Just to double check that I wasn't missing anything. And yet at the same time, I know for a fact
We missed something. I'm sure we missed something.
I'll tell you one right now that I'm missing. ISS Vanguard, not on this list. You know why? Because we're starting the official campaign and playthrough and coverage in January and February.
Yep.
Right here on this beautiful board game table. And so I haven't actually had a chance to get the copy that we've received out onto the table.
Yeah.
So it's coming soon, but it's not here. So leave a comment down below. What is your favorite game from 2022? Whether or not it was released this year or you just personally discovered it this year, what has your journey been like? You'll probably list a few that maybe I'm not entirely aware of or I haven't been able to double through and play. So you leaving a comment might mean that we take a closer look at a game that you love. All right, let's start going through this roster.
Okay.
Starting with number 10.
Number 10.
My number 10 for 2022 is both a little bit of a love letter and also a little bit ambitious. Now,
I like it.
I have a past 2 a.m. style gameplay coming out on Crimson Scales.
Nice.
So I have sat down and played this. However, I have not even started to delve into the depth of content that actually exists inside this box. For those of you that don't know, Crimson Scales is a fan-made, I know, a fan-made expansion to Gloomhaven with something along the lines of 16 brand new character classes, a whole roster, a whole arsenal of new story and journey events, and the characters that I've been able to explore, the gameplays that I've been able to sit down and have, it feels like Gloomhaven. It is so well done. It is the most ambitious fan-created thing I have ever came across. And all of this was done completely at cost.
Yeah, because they weren't allowed to make any money off of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, certain people would be very upset.
Even to the point where, at their own expense, they commissioned the actual artist from Gloomhaven, from Frosthaven, to do all of the artwork for the entire fan-made expansion. The cards are formatted right. It's beautiful and mind-blowing.
Yes.
So, the Crimson Scales is my number 10 for the year. It's one of those games that I do not probably have the time to play through all the content that it's given me. And yet at the same time, I have to stand back in awe and acknowledge just what a masterpiece it really, truly is. Scooting that over, my number 9. And
number 9?
Yeah, this list is going to be spicy considering this is sitting
number 9,
at number 9, Vagrantsong. Vagrantsong is this beautiful little kind of Cuphead-esque, like it has that feeling of the Betty Boop style.
The artwork.
You're hopping onto this train car, you're journeying through. It's a boss battler with some really cool emergent storytelling. Yeah, it's
a lot of fun. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite games of the year, but I think the storytelling in it is fantastic. The way they utilize the board game space to be able to make it completely different every single time, even though it's the same board, I think it was done and implemented extremely well.
Yeah, so my number 9 for the year is Vagrantsong. My number 8 for the year. Oila and Something Shiny. I picked this up. It's a little solo game. It's a little emergent storytelling, like card-driven game where you're running around through a deck of cards like a choose-your-own-adventure book, grabbing resources and trying to solve whatever the puzzle is. And it's light. It feels like a kid's game, right? And I have lost it multiple times. I have sat down and tried to play through certain chapters and just not been competitive, not had an option. Oila and Something Shiny, it's beautiful, it's heartfelt, it tells a story, it tells a type of story and tells a story in a way that I don't feel like many other board games do, and I think that's why I've fallen in love with it.
Sure.
It's not the dark, gloomy, it's not the ambient, emergent, it's it's kind of whimsical and kind of heartfelt and kind of cute, but it's one of those cute, it feels like a children's book. Like I Love You This Much. You know that children's book?
Yeah.
It feels like that to me.
Okay.
Because it's telling me things in a language that is easy to understand and easy to follow through beautiful artwork and through a very playful, very friendly vibe.
It is.
And at the same time, there's moments in the story where like I paused and I was like, that was emotional. Like that was a moral lesson, or that was, that was sitting down and like remembering that book, I Love You This Much, that relates to everyone. Sure. It's not just kids that's for.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And that's what Oila and Something Shiny does for me. So it's my number 8. Glad to have it here. I do think they're coming out with something new soon. I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to harass them to let me be a part of whatever else they do moving forward, because, just a surprise hit for me.
Number 7. Yeah, this is a great game.
Do you want to talk about Veiled Fate?
I absolutely love Veiled Fate. It's probably one of my absolute favorite games of this year. It would be significantly higher on my list, but that's okay. The other things coming up I know are also very good. This
was a really hard list to put together.
This is a very, very hard list. But what I love about this game is that there are hidden roles and there's hidden movement, and certain play counts you can actually have 2 people pushing the same person without ever knowing they're pushing the same person. Because you're going around a track using demigods in moving them into different areas of this overall city, using cards to vote on certain things that are happening throughout the game, putting pressure, and you could actually move a piece that doesn't belong to you at all and end up making someone else win the game at the very end because you've spent all your time trying to make people not think that that's the person you are, and you end up making somebody else win.
It's
such a great game.
It's a social deduction-esque game. It's a hidden movement style, kind of, in a way. Veiled Fate would not have been on this list just as the base, as the playing it at 2, 3, 4 players. Where it earned its title on this list is sitting down at 6 and 7. Because, like Wes said, you now have the social dynamic of not only playing a really great hidden role game, you also mix in the fact that you're looking around the table trying to figure out who is working with you and who is not working with you. Yes. And that extra layer brings this from a really solid game, top 20 of the year for sure,
definitely,
all the way up here to the position it's in now. Because I don't know of another game that has a rules change at 6 or 7 player count that transforms the game like Veiled Fate does.
Yeah.
I can try to come up with it. I'm sure they are out there, but I don't immediately think of something that comes to mind where it's like the play experience at 2 and 3 is good. The play experience at the highest player count or the higher player counts is better, and it's better because of like a core, core change. But a core change.
Yeah. No, that's definitely it. I agree.
Right. Moving on down.
Number 6. Oh. This is such a great game that I've never won.
Yeah.
Not once. We've played this 5 times. You realize we played this 5? I've played it 6 times.
Yeah, Frostpunk the board game.
Never won.
Based off of the video game, giant cooperative resource management puzzle to the death, to the doom and the gloom. And it's here on a conflicted stance.
Yes.
It's an amazing game.
Amazing game.
It's also... It's hard. It's hard
so
to table.
Hard.
It's hard to get to the table.
Yep.
It's a lot of rules. It's a lot of management, which makes an amazing system. But there's a lot of stuff going on here and a lot of levers to pull. And on top of that, it is a just really, really, really hard game. It is a frozen, brutal masterpiece.
Brutal masterpiece.
And so if you're looking for a cooperative, probably 2 or 3 player.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a cooperative or solo experience that is... pinpoint and specific and gives you 72 different dials and rods to play with and twist as you journey through it, Frostpunk is right there. And honestly, the people that were the biggest fans of the video game, that is what the video game let them do.
100%.
So it's right there for you.
Yeah, Glass Cannon did a great job translating it from the video game to a board game and making it feel very similar.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
So, amazing job, Glass Cannon. Very excited to have that on the roster. All right.
Number 5, halfway through.
My Little Kingdom Death Killer. Townsfolk Tussle. Townsfolk Tussle. Sitting here at number 5. I know, this is a hard list. I'm telling you, folks.
It's a hard list.
This is a hard list. Townsfolk Tussle. Incredible little boss battler. It is fun and whimsical in the ways that Kingdom Death is not. It is still dark and brooding in the way that Kingdom Death is. I think that this is one of the best ways to walk someone into the boss battling hobby or the boss battling genre. It is just laugh out loud. I do have some rules caveats that I make. I think the game runs a little bit long. I think they are going to address that or modify that with the next campaign that's coming up. So I don't care at this point because I just house rule it, right?
Sure.
I also think that the semi-cooperative element of the game isn't necessarily the best, but you can choose to engage with it or you can choose to not engage with it. That's kind of like an up to you type of thing. When push comes to shove, Townsfolk Tussle is still one of the best boss builders on the market, or boss battlers on the market, and it's still one of those games that gives you a unique experience every time you face off against a character or face off against one of the various, they're called ruffians, that are pulled out there onto the board. Big fan of Townsfolk Tussle. Very excited about everything they have coming up in the future. Glad to have it officially on the list now. Oh, number 4.
Number 4. So crazy that this is number 4.
This is number 4 because it's solo only.
Okay, that's very fair.
I don't
That's
get it.
very
I
fair.
do not get it to the table quite as often as I should. And most of the time when I get to the table, it's when I'm preparing or doing coverage. I love playing solo games on camera.
Yeah.
I enjoy sitting down, talking, because it kind of feels like I'm interacting with people still.
Sure.
And I actually like playing games on camera more than like not on camera. Because it forces everyone around the table to engage with the game and be there and be present constantly. And for me, that's what games are all about. And so Final Girl Series 1 is number 4. It is a incredible solo experience. And I'm not alone in that. Like, everyone in the industry has basically, like, drop-jawed at just how beautiful and how incredible this game is.
It's so well implemented. Everything about it is great.
Now, I do think, theoretically, I received my actual copy of this, like, December of 2021.
Yeah, but that's because you got yours early.
But I didn't really get to play it until January. That's where most of my content started going up.
Well, to be fair...
And this wave of it is coming in now. So
people just started to get it about a month ago.
Because I was checking my top 10 list from last year, which this would have been on, had it been within the window. Like, there's this weird middle, like, month window where things have shown up, like ISS Vanguard, that we haven't had time to really dig into, which means they're not on this list. So ISS might be there next year because it can't be there this year. If you're a solo gamer fan, if you like horror games, if you like a little bit of randomness but also some strategic depth and puzzly type games, Final Girl is right there for you.
Strategery now for number 3.
I have been screaming out Mythic Mischief since we discovered it. This is one of those games that just works for me. It's a abstract strategy game, and usually I'm really bad at these games. I lose them to Shira constantly.
Yeah, I've never beaten you at this game, and I'm not bad at them.
It works in this weird way where you're controlling your character, you're controlling your opponent's character, you're controlling the Tomekeeper, who's trying to catch each of your characters, and you're controlling the room and the environment that you're maneuvering in. So it's got a bit of spatial reasoning, a bit of quick thinking, strategic play. It also scales in a really interesting way. Ivy Studios, I'm coming to think of it, Ivy Studios is doing that. It's doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
At 2 players, it's head-to-head strategic. At 3 players, it's a team 1 versus 2. At 4 players, you can duel up with 2v2, and you can even do time trials, which puts pressure on you for an abstract game, and I think that's a riot. Mythic Mischief it's been a permanent part of the collection since we had the prototype.
Yeah.
It is now officially a permanent part of the collection without the prototype, and I'm really thrilled to see what else they have and where they go in this world.
Agreed.
I also want them strongly to get a Harry Potter IP for it, but I think it would fit.
Amazing.
I think it would fit.
Oh yeah.
Number
2.
This was probably these 2 games. This was the hardest decision for me to make.
Yeah.
It was the hardest call for me to make. Number 2 is Oathsworn. Another giant boss battler. You can see a little bit about the games that I personally love. I love theme. I love story. And I also apparently love games that give me some type of big showdown to face off against.
Very true.
And Oathsworn is right here with it. This is one of the most fun boss battling games I've ever played. And part of that is because every time we go from one chapter to the next, we're opening up that package and we're seeing what's in there. And oh my gosh, I have not spoiled stuff for myself, but I want to so bad. Their miniatures, the sculpts, the creatures we're fighting, the way they twist the rules of the game, it's beautiful. Along with that, Oathsworn has some really, really in-depth, really interesting card play systems. The way that you're actually playing cards down into your tableau, you're rotating them around your board, so it has a little bit of an exhaust system. It just works really well. So thrilled to see them skyrocket past 3 million with this last pledge, which was just a reprint. And I cannot wait to see what Shadowborn Games has coming in the future. Oathsworn's one of those games that once Shira's back in town permanently, we're going to be sitting back down and finishing the campaign together.
Sure.
It might find a spot permanently underneath our table in the basement.
Because there's a lot of boxes.
For at least a season or so.
Yep.
So, okay. Oathsworn, that is my
Number 2.
Number 1. Can anyone take a wild guess at what number 1 is?
Froggy Party.
Yeah, it's actually Ringo the Flamingo.
It was by far the
published
game.
in 2009.
Yep.
No.
Fantastic flamingo-based game. Highly recommended if you haven't had a chance to try it.
Number 1 of the year. And it kind of has to be. I don't know what other content creators out there in the space that if they've really had a chance to sit down and play this, like every content creator who calls themselves a content creator should have had the chance to do. I mean, every single person who has access to this game should have taken the time to sit down.
You're just going to keep rubbing it in like that, huh?
Wes hasn't played it yet.
I haven't played this game because someone played it without me again. Which is the way all good games happen around here.
That is true. Frosthaven is going to take the crown of the year. Yeah. It's the biggest board game ever on Kickstarter. It's following on the heels of the number 1 game on BGG of all time. It's really hard for them to mess this up. In fact, my list for this year included a fan-made expansion for the little brother of this big box. Frosthaven does Gloomhaven better. And I don't know if the ratings, I don't know if the rankings, I don't know if the BGG fandom is going to see that number surpass. I have a theory that it might.
Yeah.
I have a theory that Frosthaven, because enough people actually journeyed through Gloomhaven and loved it, Frosthaven's going to pull those eyes back. It's going to pull that attention back. But we'll see. But I think moving into 2023, Frosthaven's going to be, the game of this next era of board gaming until the Gambler's Chest arrives.
And I also agree with you. And all bets are off at that point.
And then we'll have another conversation. But yeah, it does Gloomhaven better. The settlement development, the way it allows you to actually impact and create the world, the legacy elements of it, the depth of characters, and how fast you actually start journeying through the story and unlocking surprise boxes, unlocking new people to play as, and start cycling, start the process of retiring characters to develop the space. This is one, I'm not going to go back and play physical Gloomhaven ever.
Yeah.
But this is another one that if Shira and I have the space and we have an area to leave something set up, we will probably prioritize Oathsworn first, and then this will be next on our list. We're currently playing through the digital campaign of Gloomhaven. We're loving it. We're like 22, 23 hours in, and so a physical copy of Frosthaven is going to be something that I'm sure she's going to want to play with me.
Agreed.
So this is it. Frosthaven's number 1, and it's just no surprise, right?
Yeah.
It's a little anticlimactic.
But you did, to be fair, you did struggle with this.
I absolutely struggled with it.
You sat there for a good 5 minutes.
The difference between Frosthaven and Oathsworn, for me, came down, sadly, to the story.
Yeah.
Oathsworn has some moments in it where I don't feel like the story is the strongest part of the game. Some moments that took me out of the story or made it feel like my choices weren't as relevant to like the narrative that I was playing through, the way that I felt like it felt a little bit more on rails.
Sure.
And those moments of taking me out of that gameplay experience, out of the narrative part of that gameplay experience, is something that Frosthaven has not done to me. When it comes to the actual boss battling system, and even arguably some of the mechanics, I could take them or leave them on both. I think they're both extremely strong when it comes to the actual thing they're presenting. One's a dungeon crawl where you're exploring through the world. The other's a giant boss battle. Or one has cards that you exhaust as you play. The other one has this really cool leveling system where the most powerful cards in your hand take longer to refresh and recycle in. They're very similar in some ways. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when push comes to shove, Frosthaven is working off the heels of a Titan, and it didn't mess it up.
Which is saying something.
Well, yeah.
Because, I mean, all the options were there. It was Frosthaven's option to lose that one.
You're right, but the fact that it didn't mess it up means it wins.
Yeah.
It means it wins.
Totally fair.
So there we have it. There's 2022's list of all of the best games. We have a lot of lists coming out this week.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing all of them, but if you aren't, hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss a single one. We'll see you next time.
Bye.